Now, there may be more altruistic or more philanthropic or charitable motivations on the surface. Look, I just want to care for you. That's really all, you know. I just want what's best for you. How many of you said that one? I see some faces hiding behind the hands there. I really just want what's best for you. Believe me. I mean, really. But we have to admit, if we're honest, that underneath that external facade, we have some needs that we want fulfilled. We have some needs that we feel very uncomfortable. They're not met. And so the other person should be fuel for our desires. We want to feel wanted. Therefore, the other person should feel lonely for us. Just start asking that question to whomever your temporary or permanent significant other is, as permanent as things can be in this world. Just ask, are you lonely for me? Try it. And of course, that other person, if he or she is right on the money, right on the mark, oh, of course. This is what you want to feel. You want to feel that you're at the center of someone's universe. And this desire you have is actually burning. We're not so honest with ourselves to admit that, but actually it's a burning desire. I want to be needed. I want to be wanted. I want to be desired. Indeed, I want to be cherished. I want someone who feels lonely without my company. I want to be missed by someone. When people first have their relationship affairs, it's one of the most intoxicating things is just relishing the fact that someone misses you. Someone feels lonely for you. Your ego practically can't get over it. It's just what a knockout. How many of you remember for the first time when someone told you, I miss you? Your mind was blown. It's just an indescribable feeling, isn't it? Yes, some are nodding their heads. It's indescribable. Of course, as the years go by, things start to become jaded and you become a bit cynical. And often the person can't say those words to you with the same kind of feeling as when you first heard them. But still, it does make us feel better to be missed, wanted, needed, and especially someone's lonely for us. Their life is empty with us, not there. So tonight we want to focus on that fire of desire in terms of our neediness for feeling complete. We're not self-sufficient. The yoga texts teach us that there's only one self-sufficient entity in existence. That supreme one self-sufficient entity is the goal of the yoga system. How is it that we distinguish between the supreme self-sufficient entity and all others? There's countless conscious entities in this world. Minute particles of spiritual consciousness. Sparks of spiritual consciousness. And then there's the fire itself. The particles of spiritual consciousness, they are of the same quality as that supreme fire. But sparks can't compare to the supreme fire in quantity. Or looked at another way, a particle of gold is of the same quality as the gold mine, but it can't compare to the gold mine in quantity. So once we start understanding this relationship between ourselves as parts of the supreme and the complete whole, the Supreme One, self-sufficient, we can begin to sort ourselves out in terms of what we are really lonely for and whom we're really missing. We are too tiny to be self-sufficient. That's one thing. And secondly, because we are parts, we're not the complete whole, we also can't be self-sufficient. Parts, by necessity, depend on the whole for their existence. We can't get rid of our status as parts of the Supreme. You'll find in the chief yoga text, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains this very clearly. In Sanskrit, you'll find, Mamayavamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Krishna explains, you living entities, you're all my eternal fragmented parts. Eternal fragmented means there never was a time when you were broken off from the Supreme. So you're a part, but you're eternally apart. There's no question of when did you break off. You always exist eternally and simultaneously as a part in relation to the whole. We have a problem now, Krishna explains. We are in the oppressive material atmosphere, and therefore we're struggling very intensely with our mind and senses, our temporary material mind and senses. This material atmosphere is oppressive because it prevents us from fulfilling our desires easily and completely. Note that about your desires in this world. There's always a problem trying to fulfill them. You have to work very hard just for the opportunity to try to satisfy your desires. And even if you have a chance to satisfy your desires, it's never complete. There's always a feeling of transitoriness, emptiness, insufficiency. And the whole purpose of the Bhakti Yoga system is to get you to realize your dependency on the Supreme Self-Sufficient One. We can't be self-sufficient, as I said, we're too tiny. And parts, by definition, depend on the complete whole that they are part of. But if we look at the Supreme Self-Sufficient One, throughout all the Vedic texts, of which the yoga texts are a part. Veda means knowledge. So throughout all the Vedas, Krishna is explained as supremely self-sufficient. The supreme primeval self-sufficient person never goes outside of himself for enjoyment. That is real self-sufficiency. Now, because we're tiny parts, we can't say that. Just look at your life. You're always trying to go out, you're always having to go outside of yourself in order to enjoy. You have to depend on others. You have to depend on external circumstances. So who here can say that you're a self-sufficient enjoyer? And here is the weakness in your program for being hungry to fulfill your desires, dealing with the fire desire. You're not self-sufficient. You always have to depend on circumstances and persons outside of yourself. It's a great weakness, isn't it? So you get angry so often, you get frustrated so often, because those persons and circumstances outside of yourself, they rarely will do what you want. And it seems so obvious what they should do, right? Yes, I know you've all felt like that. It's so obvious what the other people should do and how they should treat you, right? What is the mystery? Why don't they just do it? You get angry. Can you remember really just getting irate and angry with someone because they just won't act right? And your expectations, needs, wants, choose your word, they're all quite modest, of course, and humble, and nothing excessive. But that other person just doesn't get it. And sometimes you even scream at them, right? Look, all you have to do is this. Don't you understand? Is it really asking so much? All you have to do is like this, and everything will be fine. Do you understand? Oh, you remember saying that? Christopher Roy, you said that sometimes? Shaker, you can remember saying that? Yeah, it seems so obvious and logical, right? And the amazing thing is, the other person just doesn't get it. And that makes you even more angry. Why can't they see the simplest things? And they're supposed to be caring for you. You're supposed to be in a relationship with them. And after a while, you realize they haven't understood the simplest things. And it begins to shock you. What have I done? Who am I with? Why am I wasting my time in this way? I can't believe it. Well, I guess I have to face the facts. He or she is not the one. One person I know told me a story, a true story. Now, he didn't have any education. He didn't have any money whatsoever. And he was in his late 30s. And so, somehow or other, he met this flash young lady from Sydney, Australia. She was a high-powered corporate lawyer. She just had all that pizzazz. And miracle of all miracles, she decided to settle upon him. And his head was just, his mind was blown. He even told her, why me? I don't have any money. I don't have any education. You are such a high roller. You've got it completely together. And of course, what did she tell him? Oh, it's not about money. It's not about all those other things. It's just, I feel something for you. So, his mind was just in shreds. He was transfixed. He couldn't believe it. Here I am in nothing. No material qualifications. And this goddess is fixed upon me. He was just soaring through the air. So he described how they carried on their affair for a few weeks, and this heaven just went on, you know, for a couple of months, and then he just thought every day would just lead to another day, like the same. He was living this dream world. She would spend her money, and they would. Go to stay at this hotel, that hotel, and wine and dine, and he just couldn't believe it. And after a while, he began to believe it. Actually, I must be pretty good. actually, I must have it really together. I mean, I just started to figure it out that, wow, I am desirable. Sure. Why did I know that before? It seems so obvious now. How did I miss the point? So, he told me this true story. So this is going on now. And then, they were in a hotel, and he woke up one morning, and she was packing her bags. And he was like, shocked. Like, what's happening? Where are you going? What are you doing? And she just looked at him and said, guess what? You're not the one. Open the door.